Welcome to Grip Block Foundation's weekly disc golf podcast. I'm Trevor, joined again by Connor. We were supposed to have Hunter today, but we're the two stooges and we couldn't figure out the audio video situation, so it's just us two. But I have Hunter's knowledge and wisdom written down to make sure that his predictions and everything gets across. And we're going to fill you in on the second major of the year. Probably, it's tough. It's tough to say that this is the one I've been looking forward to the most this year. But because it's been absent, I'm definitely pretty pumped about it.
I was going to say the most exciting one.
Well, I think it drops a little bit in the points for me because the field is not at full strength. So that's,
I gotcha.
I think if it was, I would be like, okay, this is the most exciting major of the year. But the fact that there are players not traveling to Europe or still hurt or whatever, that's gonna drop some points for me. But this is the first European Open since 2019. Obviously with COVID, and they only played it every other year, even back in the day. It's been a little while, but we're finally going back to the beast for our next major. And I feel like it feels like Champions Cup was like so long ago. It's like where we were definitely due for a major to spice things up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
This is another one of those majors in disc golf where it does not rotate courses. It's always at the beast. That is like, you know, it's made it like so iconic as being known for that specific course.
I definitely think that makes a tournament more iconic. Whenever you get familiar with the holes. It's like USDGC, where like whenever you think USDGC, you think Winthrop Gold.
Yeah. Well, a question Hunter had for us was, you know, this event was typically played, you know, not every year. It was biannual. However, if it was, and this was like the second major that was played at a course every single year, so we had that familiarity with it like we do with USDGC, would you like it more than USDGC is what he was wondering.
Ooh.
Which for me, it's tough to answer that question. But I think personally, like, people talk a lot about USDGC and like the course being so iconic because it's played there every year. But I think more so than that, and more so, like, yes, I get it's a very important major and it's played there every year. That's obviously a huge thing. But for me, it's more because USDGC is such a unique course. So not only does it stick in your brain, it's like so specific, the things that create nostalgia on that course. Yeah. Because you're not just thinking about like, oh, the trees or the elevation or whatever, you know, it's like, oh yeah, there's a parking lot on this hole and like a baseball field. Mm-hmm. That's like, I don't know. What do you think?
I think that for me, the main reason for loving USDGC so much is because the accessibility to me personally. Yeah. So like the fact that I can go there and watch and enjoy it, like you're gonna get sucked into any tournament if you can go be there for the drama, and so it's just more accessible to me. So probably maybe if the European if that was more accessible for me, then I maybe would. I don't know.
I would.
There's just so much drama.
You know what's interesting USDGC too about the Beast? Obviously, the Beast is an incredible course out there in Europe. And I don't have a problem with them going there every year. However, what I honestly think I'd prefer the European Open rotating courses in Europe, because we don't ever get to see European disc golf really with the Pro Tour. I mean, I think they're gonna litter in some Silver Series and maybe even a main Pro Tour at some point in the future. But I think there's so many beautiful courses in Europe that I wouldn't have a problem seeing it rotate, because it would just get to showcase more of the awesome courses out there. And maybe I've got the wrong idea and there's not as many as I think there is. But every time I see a course in Europe, I'm like, that is gorgeous.
They look super well kept. They look like golf courses.
Well, yeah, the landscape is just so different out there too. Everything is so lush and pretty. I think it'll be interesting too, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who got into disc golf like during the COVID stuff, so they don't really know about the European Open a ton, and maybe haven't seen that course a lot.
Sure, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good coverage out there to watch. Basically, Paul just dominated it for the last decade, but it's a for real course. I mean, it's like it's up there with top courses. I've talked to a lot of people. I know it's one of Paul's favorites, and I've talked to a lot of people that have played a lot of courses like worldwide, and this one always ranks up there for them. However, one thing about this course that is a little bit interesting and that Hunter had been talking about is what's called the bunker rule, and it's spelled BUNCR, bunker rule. And basically, because it's not an actual sand bunker, and this is something that's been played before on this course, but they're bringing it back again this year. Hole 16 is a par 4 that plays to an island green over hay bales, similar to like a hole 17 USDGC situation. What makes this hole unique is when they if you miss the island, you throw again from your lie, but you don't take a penalty stroke. So you basically, like, let's say you throw your third shot and you miss the island, you're now throwing your fourth shot. So Hunter had said that he thinks this rule is...
Why is there an island then?
What do you mean, why is there an island?
What's the point in there being an island if you throw from where your shot is? And
No, from where you were. So you still repeat... you're still repeating your lie. So
I understand.
You're still... Yeah, you're not gaining any distance. But... You know, Hunter was kind of saying, he was like, I think that the field is good enough at this point that like we can do stroke and distance. You know, it can be like the island at hole 17 at USDGC. And I agree. I don't really know. I guess the course is probably just trying to protect the players from like crazy blow up scores. Yeah. But also, I mean, everybody's got to play it. You know, I think it adds just a lot more tension. I think the field has gotten good enough at this point that we don't need to be making rules to make the course easier.
Yeah.
You know, and here's what I would also say. If they're too concerned with the approach shot being like way too difficult for stroke and distance, they're like, oh, it's going to make a blow up every time, then make the island a little bigger or move the edge of the island a little closer. Make it maybe a little easier, because the beauty of a shot like that is that it's not necessarily meant to be like insanely difficult. It's just like if you're going to do like the hay bale island, like that shot, you have to make it doable. So it's never meant to be super crazy. It's just meant to be very nerve-wracking, because when you know you're getting another penalty stroke added on if you mess up,
like, it just makes the shot more impossible because you're terrified.
Yeah, because you know it's a par 4. You know, guess what? If you throw your second shot and you miss it, and then your third on, you make par, whoop-de-doo. But I don't think you should be getting away with par when you miss an island on hole 16. Like that is where that's an opportunity where drama can be created.
Yeah.
It's one of those like, ooh, it's not over until you get past hole 16 type situations.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with Hunter there. I don't
it's also very much a situation where like there's no penalty to like, okay, let me get to this spot, run for the birdie, but if I miss the island, it's okay, I can still get my par.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
What are you saying?
Well, because if you're what's the par?
It's a par 4.
It's a par 4. Well, then if you can run the island on 2.
I mean, it's a far throw.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
It was made sense in my head, but it didn't make as much sense out loud.
Yeah, I just also think like this disc golf has this weird thing now where like there are certain events, because now USDGC and the European both have like unusual rules that aren't. I know USDGC has lots of PDGA rules that are not compliant, and I guess this European Open one, I'd have to check that, but I'm not sure if these are going to be like counted ratings or if the bunker rule is actually written into the PDGA rules. But I know they've used it before, so it may be. But I think that like it's probably a better idea if disc golf can just establish like standards for how out of bounds and hazard and all of that works and just stick to it. And like there are ways to do that and like still make like hole 17 at USDGC a thing, you know, like there are ways around it and whatever, and we can form the rules to make sure that like certain holes can stay intact that are important to the sport, I guess. But I don't like the rule in general. I think down with the bunker rule. And maybe I'll regret saying that, because maybe I'll watch hole 16 and be like, oh my gosh, if that weren't for that rule, you know, maybe there's an ulterior motive behind it. But I would agree with Hunter, and I think they just want.
I think they still want. Like they still don't. I don't know if they want a ton of separation. after 16. I bet they just want it to be close going into 18.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, and hole 18 is a pretty sick finishing hole, so maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're like, let's make sure that we keep it close going into 18.
I think
that's a good point.
I think they want to save the drama.
That's a good point. And it's interesting. A lot of people do like golf finishing stretches in different ways. Typically, you see 17 be like the trap hole almost. Mm-hmm. I'm always a fan of you make 17 a hole that shouldn't be super difficult, but the pressure makes it difficult, and then you make 18 or like 17 is just is a hole that is like not super hard, but if you mess up, it's a huge punishment. And then I think that hole 18 should be like an actually pretty tough hole, but can be played at a bunch of different ways. Mm-hmm. Like USDGC does this really well because 17, not super difficult, right? It's just a little shot. I mean, we went out there and threw it, and like I can hit that island with no pressure. I can probably hit that island like at least 3 out of 5 times, maybe 4 out of 5, maybe 5 out of 5 times. It's not that hard of a shot.
Yeah,
especially when there's no wind. However, pressure's on, that's super difficult. And
that's what happened to Brody. Brody was telling us during his practice round, he was like, I don't understand why everybody freaks out about this hole. It's like the easiest shot I've ever thrown.
Yeah, he aced it, I believe.
Yeah,
at one point during practice, and then he missed it like every single time.
Yeah,
or except for once. I think he got it once.
I think final round he missed it twice.
Yeah,
didn't he?
I think so. I mean, I was following him. It was tough to watch.
He turned around and he was like, you're right, this hole's hard.
Yeah. But like, and then hole 18 is like a pretty hard hole, but you can play it easy if you want to by just like laying up to the corner. So I like that kind of situation, but I know there's a lot of different ways that courses are approaching it. In my opinion, like you can, whatever 16 and 17 are fine. As long as there's a chance for separation on 18, then I'm going to be okay with it. And there is at the European Open at the Beast. So as long as I like hole 18 to be at least a par 4, if not a par 5, and then like have some different situations in play. But moving on from that, we're going to go into some storylines. Big one is that Eagle McMahon is coming back.
Heck yeah.
This one I'm very wary about because I'm very excited. I've missed seeing Eagle out there on tour. Mm-hmm. It's been really annoying this year. It's really, really annoying just having like shortened fields. I mean, you've got Dickerson, who's not even going to be here again, and he's like kind of just picks and chooses, which is like, it's fine, but it's upsetting because he's the best player in the world, so that's annoying. It's annoying to know that we're going to have another major that Dickerson's not going to be at, and it's like, darn. But then you've got Ricky, who is hurt a little bit. Now Eagle's been hurt most of the year. I haven't really seen any specific updates on his injury. I hope that he's not rushing it, is what I'll say, because obviously he's antsy to come back, but when you're dealing with like tricky shoulder injuries, and this one seems very tricky, like sometimes you just gotta go full rest and like shut it down.
It just takes one move to make it way worse.
Exactly, and like I'm sure that he has hopefully gotten like the correct advice on this and like it feels confident. But really more than anything, obviously we're hoping he stays healthy, but then more than anything, it's like, okay, what is he going to be capable of out there? Because, Eagle is obviously a serious force. So, is he going to come right back in there and be in the top, or are you going to see a like more reserved, just getting back out there and playing it safe type Eagle? I don't know. I'm honestly going to just be rooting for Eagle to finish the event and say my arm felt great.
Yeah.
And like
I'm excited to see him out there, but you're right. It is a little bit nerve wracking.
Yeah. You would hate to see a repeat injury, because if that, then it starts to get really worrying, and like you don't want to see young players like superstars like that just getting hurt. Like it's never good.
Have we heard anything else about Brody?
I don't think so.
After his tweet?
I don't think so. Yeah, Brody is another kind of storyline because he was tweeting that his back was shot.
He kind of tweaked his back during Foundation versus the
Yeah,
Nation.
he tweaked it on our Charleston trip. It didn't seem like a crazy big deal, though. And then,
but it was bothering him.
Yeah, it was bothering him. And then he tweeted out that he was like going to need a miracle, basically, to be able to play. He tweeted today, taking the day off and hoping to wake up tomorrow feeling better. Back has been locking up on and off all day today. So I mean, he's a gamer. He's probably going to try and play on it. So we shall see what happens.
I don't know, but he's also really wise with that stuff too, though.
Yeah,
like he's not gonna. If he thinks he can make it worse, I don't think he's going.
No, yeah, that's true.
He is smart about that.
It is
stuff.
just tougher when you've already flown out there. And it's a major, so he's going to want it really bad.
That's very true.
I think that it's interesting this year. We've heard so much more about injuries, I think, than any other year. It's become such a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think players are just like going harder at this sport than they ever have. It's gotten so competitive, but Eagle, if he finishes the event and just plays fine and is like, hey, my arm felt great, then that'll be a win for Eagle, I think. Another important player that's going to be missing is Kristen Tatar, still out. I believe that's related to the whole COVID situation she had going on in her house. That's another huge bummer. I mean, missing her lately has not been great, and then this is like her home turf. So yeah. I mean, not having her, it's basically going to be the FPO field this week is already going to be kind of iffy, but yeah, it's the more I talk about like Chris and Kristen not being there, the two Chris's, if you will, it's really kind of sad because it's like when you have a major championship, you want to know that whoever wins had to beat the best in the world.
Because that's the frustrating thing is that like at so many of these things where Chris isn't there, you're just like, well, what would have happened if he was there? And it makes every tournament feel a little less like concrete. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So actually, I was double checking because I remembered that Kristen was having an arm issue too, and apparently she's having elbow pain. So that is why she's not playing. So that's really not good. They're dropping like flies. Yeah. It is, and a lot of these athletes do take their like arm health and stuff like that very seriously, but like it's going to become more and more of a thing where like, because disc golf is not the most strenuous sport on your arm. Like there are a lot that are worse for it, like baseball in particular is so bad for your arm. But the more seriously you take it, the further people keep throwing. Like it's gonna be very important that you like take that extremely seriously and are doing like rehabilitation and stretching and all that stuff.
Well, the thing is, there's so many things involved with disc golf. So many parts of your body there's a lot of very quick jerking motions in disc golf. And like hopefully if your form is good, you're not injuring anything. But I mean there's times I throw a forehand and I think my hip is broken. And so like I can't, obviously that's because I'm not professional and I don't have perfect form with it. But like still like there's a lot of ways to hurt yourself in disc golf because of that twisting motion. So much.
There's certainly a lot involved. And I mean, we've seen a good bit of arm injuries this year. Yuli had some arm issues. Kristen and Eagle, obviously, but then like Ricky had the knee problem. I think Anthony Barella hurt his back last week, is what I heard. And so yeah, it's kind of all across the board.
Just got to build up those disc golf muscles.
Just got to build them up. Got to take care of yourself. You're professional athletes now, making a lot of money.
You can check out my master class.
Yeah. Another interesting storyline is the European Open used to happen every other year, and now with the current scope of disc golf kind of growing, back then when like the disc golf world tour and stuff like that existed, it almost seemed like international events were not really a let's do this every year type situation just in general. Like it was like more of a special thing for disc golfers to like try and make it out there. But, things are changing. There's, more money in the sport. And Hunter was wondering, with the current scope of disc golf, are we going to be seeing the European Open every year now, or are they going to keep doing it every other year? I personally would love to see it. I mean, I think that they will do it every year. Because I think the sport I think that like disc golf has adapted the idea of doing 4 majors now. I think we're beyond, I think like by adding the Champions Cup as that 4th major and like being very adamant about calling it the 4th major, I hope they stick to it every year because I think it's not as hard for players to get out to Europe anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a major that is always going to feel very different because you're, across the pond. So I do hope they do it every year. If not, I just don't like the idea of having 3 majors certain years. Like that just doesn't sit well.
I want it to be every year.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, because like, what I really don't want them to do is be like, oh, we're gonna do a different major during the off year, and so it's gonna be like then we have 5 majors, but only 4 of them happen on any given year. I don't. Let's not we got to keep the majors concise. But I think it's important. Now there's something to be said. Honestly, the thing is, if they were to do only 3 major, only one of the majors, every once in a while, it really should be Worlds probably.
Mm-hmm.
If you were because if you want to that is a way to add prestige to an event by only doing it every so often. That's how the Olympics and the World Cup work. But those are a little bit different because you're representing a country. It's not it's not like an individual sport where certain athletes are just gonna get caught in the wrong cycle and not get to play that many in their prime compared to others. That's why I don't like that. So I hope they do it every year. I think that we can settle in. We have a good, the Champions Cup, is what it is. There's still a lot of work for that major to gain some prestige. But then with the other 3, we have a decent setup of 4 majors that we can settle into for a little bit now, and just work off of that because in the time that disc golf has been around, there has not been a very consistent set of majors every year. Things have changed up a lot. So it's I'm just ready to settle in and be we know these are the majors. This is the time of year they happen, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
One more important thing to mention is actually one of the most interesting things about this event, and that is Paul Macbeth. How do you feel about Paul Macbeth, Connor, at the moment?
I feel... Well, right now he's kind of poo-poo. Just to outright say, he hasn't done anything important in a little bit, on tour.
Yeah,
he has fallen off the radar, and I would say that right now this tournament is crap or get off the pot for Paul. And I know that phrase is not being used correctly, but that's the one I wanted to use.
Yeah,
I think that if he doesn't make a name for himself this,
is the pot his space in your heart.
Yeah.
And crap is win.
It really is.
Yeah.
It actually is. Because whenever I see his name on that list, I think there's my champion.
Yeah.
And I think that if he doesn't do something notable at this tournament, then
make a statement.
This year is.
Are you breaking up with him?
I'm breaking up with him.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm
gonna need some space from Paul if he doesn't do something at this tournament.
This is Paul's last straw.
Yes, that is what I meant by crap or get off the pot.
He only ever lost this event once, is back in 2011. Since then, he's won it every year as a major, and in 2016 when it was just an A tier. And because he's this is Paul's event. He has had some dominant finishes, some great comebacks. This is Paul owns the European Open.
Mm-hmm.
He's McBeast. It's the Beast.
It's his thing.
It just makes sense.
He's gonna listen to Beast mode.
If he doesn't win this one, or at the very least, it's one thing if he goes out there, shows out, and then gets beat by somebody who was just having a perfect round, perfect event, and it was well, Paul did go off. He just got beat by somebody who was going. That's one thing, but if I see another outside, I think if he's outside the top 5 at this event, it's not looking good.
I can't remember if Hunter said this. That might be one of the reasons why I'm feeling so passionate about it. So I don't want to take credit for it if it is something he said, because it sounds like a very Hunter Thomas statement I'm about to say. But I think if he doesn't win, I think that if he wins this weekend, he wins Worlds. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of one of those. We always say this is the last straw for Paul, but then we'll get to another major and be no, this is because he has such a dominant history at so many events.
It's hard.
It's hard
to count him out.
You get to certain ones and you're but Paul does have a history here. Maybe this is where he finds the magic.
And also the thing with him is that he very much any moment can just switch it.
And that's the thing is he still shows that. He's still having good rounds. But I'm pretty. Here's what I'll tell you: if he comes outside the top 5 in this event, then I'm not picking him. Well, I didn't pick him for my top 3. I don't think. Spoiler alert. Oh, maybe I did.
I did.
I don't even remember. I wrote down. I have to look at it. But yeah, I bet you did. But if he doesn't do something here, I think I'm gonna declare lost cause for Paul. Never gonna win again.
Should we do something very Hunter and put something on the line for I'll say he comes in top 5, you say he doesn't?
And bet some of our points on it?
No, just a bet.
Well, what are you going to put on it?
If Like you just want to do lunch like one day.
But I think he's gonna come in the top 5 though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
I do think
you're not that brave.
5.
You're not brave enough to not choose him for top 5.
I don't know. I mean, he needs to get it going. And this would be the thing is like if he wins, it's like classic Paul though. If he wins the European Open, then all of a sudden like he already won a Pro Tour this year. Now he would have a major as well, and like that's a big deal. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, Paul has one of the 2 majors and there's 2 more on the board.
It's just like it's so funny. There's almost not a surprising situation. Because he could come in 30th and you'd be like, well, I mean, like, what do you expect? Like, that's been his game. Like, he hasn't been
or he
doing
could
that
win.
Or if he wins, you're just like, well, what do you expect? He's Paul Macbeth. Like, there's no surprise there almost.
It's the history, man.
I would say the most surprising thing would be if he came in 3rd.
Yeah.
That would be the most surprised for me.
That is a good point. So we do have Hunter's keys to victory here that he wrote down. You know, we couldn't leave him out. He had stay on the fairway, so fairway hit percentage and scramble rate percentage were the big correlations to success on this course in the past, which makes sense because especially the fairway hits because there is quite a bit of creative OB. I've seen that a lot in Europe. Like the landing zones are very important, a lot of tough OB. So just keeping the disc in play is obviously going to be a huge part.
I feel like that makes sense. I feel like there's a lot of golf shots here.
Yeah.
Like, I need to land there for my second shot.
Yeah, there's definitely some very key placement going on. We will move on to the predictions, just a little score update. We've got Hunter at 82, myself at 43, and you at 54. I did cut in your lead a little bit.
You scared me for a second. I thought the order you said
he just wrote it down that order. I did cut into your lead of second place a little bit yesterday.
Well, it's short-lasted because...
Short-lasted.
I'm gonna win this week.
Well, let's start with the MPO. I'll go with Hunter's first, which is kind of interesting. He has Ricky in first. No, not Ricky in first. Ricky in third.
Okay.
Paul in second, and James Conrad taking it down. So
whoa,
like repeat of the Worlds.
Very
from last
interesting
year.
choices.
I
there.
liked James Conrad a lot at this event, but I believe I ended up straying away from him. Yeah, I did. I don't know. I couldn't get myself to do it. I had for MPO Paul coming in third, Ricky in second, and Simon Lizotte taking it down.
Okay.
I'm still playing the like Simon is playing pretty well right now card, and also he's familiar with this course.
I feel like Simon's a big nostalgia and adrenaline person.
He's closer to Germany,
so I feel like the fact that he's in Europe is gonna, but
he'll have a lot of fans in Europe.
I've got third place Simon.
Okay.
Because I do think he's going to play well.
That's smart.
In second place, I wanted to throw Eagle in there, but I am a little scared of his injury. And like I'm scared that if I put him in the top 3, he's going to like hear me say that and he's going to want to try harder and he might hurt himself. Yeah. So like for his health, I'm not going to put him in the top 3. Take it easy, Eagle. Like that's for you. And then I've got Ricky in second, and I am putting Paul Macbeth as he is. I think he might win. I would not see. That's the thing is that I don't think I'm a crazy person either way.
No, I mean, there's a lot of history.
I think he's just gonna turn it on. You know,
it's so sketchy. FPO field is not super deep at this event, so my picks are pretty vanilla. I've got Evelina in third, Kat in second, and Paige in first. It's like my classic, who did I pick for FPO last week, or who won last week? Let's rotate. It looks like Hunter has the exact same pick as me, so he had the same thought.
I am now going to switch mine on the spot.
Did you have the same one?
It's the
looking
three
highest face.
The 3 highest rated players.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, ooh, do I flip flop?
Yeah, I'm going to flip flop a little bit just to because like it's not. I'm going to gain so many points from MPO. That I feel like I should.
These are double points. I could mention that.
Oh,
this is a major, so these points are double this week.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
So like, Hunter being the only one having James Conrad in his top 3 means that he could take huge points on us. But it also means if James Conrad comes outside the top 3 and Simon gets in, because you had Ricky and Paul in there. Mm-hmm. So if Simon gets in, if we get the Simon, Ricky, Paul, we'll gain points on him. We will get a good
bit of points. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Oh gosh, double points are terrifying. Yeah, you get 6 points if you have somebody in the correct spot this week, which is huge.
I'm going Paige. Third place, Kat.
Okay.
Cat Allen, that is.
Cat Allen. Not merge.
And then second place, Evelina. First place, Paige.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Very well done. Dark horse picks. Dark horse is also very big this week because of its double points. Hunter has, I believe it's pronounced, it's either Nut or Newt. Newt Vollenholland. Yeah, I think it's Newt. Newt Vollenholland. I think it's Holland. But he was a Norwegian guy who was at the Sula Open and placed pretty well. So that was a pretty solid pick from Hunter. That wasn't really on my radar. I took Raven Newsom. He actually he was out a good bit this year with an elbow injury, and he waited it out quite a while.
Smart guy.
He's just outside the top 50 in the world rankings. I don't know. I made the pick. There wasn't a lot of thought. Dark horse is tough.
I went just right outside 50, meaning 51. And I'm doing Linus Carlson.
Linus Carlson.
Yep.
I think it's Linus Carlson. I believe. So
Linus Carlson.
You actually know your
Linus
pick is
Tech
Linus.
Tips
So
Carlson
doesn't exist.
But yeah, he is pretty high up there in the ratings at this tournament. So
he's a solid
that's
player.
a very good pick. I feel like
closer
also,
to his home in Sweden.
Is that Sweden?
I believe he's from Sweden.
That's cool. Volvo.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the preview for this major double points on the line. Make sure you're keeping track of the time zones and not listening to our last episode where we gave you the backwards time of situation. I believe the lead cards are actually be teeing off like 8 in the morning. It's gonna be like really early. Like we're filming this podcast pretty early, and President's Cup stuff is going on right now. So it happens like. We had the time backwards because we're silly boys. But so I still don't know about the watch party situation. It may or may not happen, but it'll be an early morning watch party if it does for the final round. But yeah, looking forward to Paul taking down the major, right?
Yep, I'm very much looking forward to it. I can't wait.
It's not gonna happen. It's probably gonna be like Andrew Fish.
He's just dug such a big spot in my heart, you know.
All right, well, we'll see you Monday.